Hey, and welcome to the 8th level of Heretic's second episode. This is the Portals of Chaos. The thing with this level is that when you're starting from wand, it's pretty rough going. You really need to be on your feet, and you really need to be manipulating these enemies right from the word go. Infighting is definitely your friend in Heretic, as you can see there. Once the enemies start waking up, they will tail us pretty aggressively around this opening area. For this reason, we do need to make sure that we're moving and we're avoiding as much of this fire as possible. Luckily, there's so many different types of enemies, infighting isn't really that difficult. I'm also making sure to grab some of the bigger items as we make our way around this outer area. Once I've got my hands on some weapons and I can fight back, it means I can sort of take out these weird dragons here. The weird dragons are probably the most annoying imminent threat, but everything outside here is just a pain in the backside. This level does descend into chaos pretty quickly, and if you're playing on the top difficulties like I am here, well, as you'll see towards the end of this level, it gets even more difficult. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to isolate some of the enemies here, just because if I try to take them on in big groups, it makes things a lot more difficult. Avoiding enemies becomes more difficult when you've got crowds around you. Trying to isolate enemies and sort of get them to walk out of the little hordes that they find themselves in is a good way to minimize the potential of losing health. This Iron Lich can't get out of this moat area here, which is good for me. As you can see though, these disciples have popped up here. My weapons are getting a very good workout here. Oh dear. Okay, so that noise that I just heard there tells me that the final bosses of this episode have woken up. We'll be talking about them as we head into the centre in a moment, but trust me, they are worth the wait. Need to get rid of that golem because he's just going to be spamming those shots at me. There are 2 secrets on this level, and we'll be heading to the first of those in a second. You don't really need to go to the secrets in this level, because as you can see here, there's nothing super essential. There's lots of things to help you, and once you're fighting the final bosses on this level, which you can just hear there, you will probably be wanting them if you're a bit inexperienced. But as you can see, the chaos is kind of quietened down out here, which I very much appreciate. The second secret is in here. Just be careful of the falling roof there. The damage you get from those can be a bit annoying if you're not paying attention. There's nothing else here for us to worry about, so we are going to go inside the teleporter here. There's more disciples here. Let's get rid of these guys. It's kind of important that you get rid of the enemies before you go into the centre. If you try going into the centre with all these enemies floating around, they will do a lot of damage and you won't like what happens. We can't put it off any longer. Let's head into the centre here. Here is the Molitor. The Molitor is the final boss of Hell's Maw, and it's going to become a semi-regular enemy as we move further into Heretic. If you're playing on the easy difficulties, you'll only face 1 of these. If you're playing on the top difficulty, you'll be facing 3 of them at the end here. So the deal with these enemies is that, as you can see, they can sort of drop their little hammer and it fires flames. They can do that in the air, they can do it along the floor. If you see a trail of them coming towards you, you want to be out of the way of that. The trail that they shoot along the floor can absolutely wipe your health, absolutely no problem at all. I am trying to grab the items there in the teleporters. Right, there's one here. You want to try and separate these three from each other. If you're trying to fight all three at once, it can get pretty messy. Using the Wings of Wrath also allows me to kind of move through this area a lot better. As you can see, he sort of dumped himself into the center there, which makes it easier for me to strafe around. Do be careful with the Molotov here, because as mentioned, even though the attacks aren't hitting me here, you don't really want to be getting too close, because any of these attacks can do some real damage, and particularly when you don't have armor. As mentioned as well, these enemies will be showing up from this point on in Heretic, so as you can see, these are real ammo sinks. You have to put a lot of ammo into taking these guys down, which makes them a bit of a pain in the backside. There's two more to face. We are definitely going to be needing to grab some of the other weapons here. Okay, I think I need to go on the other side to grab that. It looked like it was closer to the other side. It was. We're going to be making extensive use of the Phoenix Rod here. Going to grab the Ring of Invincibility as well and the Tome of Power. Combining these will help me to take down the health here. We will not always have these accessible to us when we're facing off against these things, so it's kind of important that we make use of them when possible. As you can see here, they are being very aggressive against me once I'm in the sort of immediate line of view. The Phoenix Rod is really good at chipping away the health here. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold on to this invincibility for much longer, but we are doing a good job here of taking out as much of the health these guys have as possible. As mentioned, that flame against the floor there is the one you really don't want to be behind when it happens. If that does hit you, it is usually pretty devastating. And as you can see, they are not afraid to wield it. And as you can see, when it does sort of shoot across a large room, it will go all the way to the other side. So you've got to kind of keep them in your view at all time. Should be able to take it out with the Hell Staff here. If you want to hear my controversial spicy take, I kind of prefer these to the Cyber Demon in Doom. I actually think these are more interesting to fight as an enemy because they can sort of shift towards you like that. They can kind of move around the arena a lot more aggressively, and the only thing really the Cyber Demon has going for it is the splash damage from the rockets, in my opinion. But I feel that as like overall enemies, the Molotov is slightly more fun to fight, in my opinion. But that is my spicy hot take. And we're done here. As you can see, the exits have dropped down. We've killed all the enemies, got all the secrets, and yeah, that is it for Hell's Maw. It's an okay episode in my opinion. It has some ups, it has some downs. It's definitely not the best of Heretic in my opinion, but it's a nice sort of change of pace from the first episode. You can see here the story blurb that will lead us into the third episode. Remember, when Heretic first came out, there was only 3 episodes, so this was kind of setting up the final chapter of Heretic, which is why we'll be facing off against the big baddie at the end of this episode. That is going to be a really fun fight. This episode has some of my favourite levels in it. It also has some levels I'm not a big fan of, but we'll be talking about that as we make our way through. I hope you're enjoying this playthrough of Heretic. I hope that this has been a good laugh for you so far, and I hope this is bringing back some memories if you haven't played this in many years. Let me know what you thought of the second episode. Did you like the Molotov? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.